There's a body of thinking and knowledge right now that says what is important for economic development is a place, and this is part of placemaking. It's a critical element moving forward.
In the 1890s, Lansing was growing very, very quickly. We had phased out of being a frontier city, if you will, of mostly very quickly built wooden structures. And we had hit the point in our development as a city where the buildings were becoming much larger, much more substantial, much more beautiful. John Herrmann and his wife were German immigrants. They came to America and settled in Lansing in the 1870s. Like many immigrants, when they came, their goal was to establish themselves. So they opened their business, and they at first lived in a more modest home. But 20 years on, as they had established themselves in the community, as they had become fixtures, the business had become a fixture in downtown Lansing, as they had become very involved with different civic organizations, they wanted a home appropriate to their new status.
The home has historic value. The home is an integral part of the campus. The home was underutilized, so could it be utilized better for residents? And yes, it could. Here you have the president of the college walking to work right here on the campus. To me, that's such a positive contribution to the community and the wider community. I mean, not just to the Lansing Community College student community, but to the entire community that surrounds us here in downtown Lansing.
The project started off that we were just going to do some basic renovations, such as we thought some basic painting, carpet, go in and do some electrical upgrades. Once we got into the house and we started looking at the structure, we found that the structure was pretty much in decay just from the age of the building.
When you start renovation of an old home, and I mean old, I think probably in excess of 100 years, that process is fraught with concern, because every time you open a wall up, you don't know what's behind it. We didn't quite know all of the problems.
We put an estimate on the total renovation of about $300,000. As again, we got into the walls, got into the structure, we found it to be in disarray, so we started replacing a lot of the infrastructure.
When you start tearing into walls, you don't know what you're going to run into in a house that's this old. You have no idea. There's a structural problem on the second floor where the roof was resting on a beam that no longer existed. It rotted away completely, and the only thing really holding it up was the metal lath. And that beam was supporting the brick on the side of the house. If the one end of the beam's gone, there's nothing supporting it, so the beam could fall, then the brick could fall, then the sidewall could fall and tip out, and then all the weight of the brick could come crashing down and destroy the second floor and into the basement.
The other side of the coin is that we also had to stay with the historical portion of the home, because it is on the state register. So we had to make sure that a lot of the woodwork, stairways, doors, all that remained the same.
Historic preservation requires a sophistication of your repairs. I mean, you just don't put in a new pane of glass made of plastic. You use the wood and reglaze. It is a more costly process, but you end up with a museum piece.
Well, because it's an older home and it originally had plaster in it, so the renovation work that we're doing requires that we bring it back up to original material. It gets a lot harder finish than what a regular drywall product would get. It's a lot flatter, a lot smoother material.
If you're going to restore the house, you need to restore the house to something that you're not going to have to fix again. And that's what has happened over the years, is you get a patch here, a patch there. Eventually the patches wear out.
Once you're done, you have brought it up to a standard that the deferred maintenance is not going to happen again.
It's full of old world craftsmanship. The brickwork, the ironwork on the balcony, the beautiful wood carving, the front doors even.
The woodwork is amazing. I mean, doing it in this day and age is difficult enough. I can't imagine trying to do it with your hand tools.
The metalwork of the doorknobs and the hinges are still that old tooled kind of work that we don't see today.
The house is what an architectural historian would call English Tudor. It's very much a look back, although an architectural historian will also tell you it's not simply English. For example, there are rounded windows in it that are much more Norman looking, that are French influence.
Wonderfully preserved details throughout the house, and I'm so glad they're still there.
One thing that I think was an incredible gift that the Herrmann family gave to the Lansing community is the fact that their home was always open to people in the community, and they always wanted to benefit the community as best they could. What I think is so wonderful about the way the home is being used now, there will be people of all sorts coming from Lansing, from the surrounding communities, to enjoy events in that home once again.
To me, the signal, the symbolism, the importance of having the president downtown, to having a leader of the community in downtown Lansing, that was a positive thing to do.
By retaining these pieces left from the city's past, it is a wonderful gift to the entire community, and we are grateful for that.